These assemblages invite viewers to think about how individuals express mourning. They ask us to examine how we deal with our pain and how memorials lessen the impact of trauma. For Those Gathered in the Wind explores Black grief and death through art and reveals the profound relationship we all have with mortality.
Hello, I'm Eliott Mansa. I'm an artist. This isn't necessarily easy work, thinking about mourning. Just mentioning those gathered in the wind is acknowledging an invisible presence, and that could be people that are dying yesterday, and it could be people who died hundreds of years ago that are still linked to our modern reality, because we're still dealing with the division. We're still having to face these questions about who we are as a country. Going back to Columbine, Columbine was one of the first times that the nation took part in this collective experience of not just mourning, but people would come to Columbine to leave teddy bears and to leave flowers. So there was a roadside memorial that became massive. It was unprecedented. You know, if you drive down the street and you see these roadside memorials, and you recognize a combination of teddy bear, candle, you're already kind of thinking about this tradition.
Spiritually and visually, mourning is one of the deepest, lasting connections to Africa throughout the Black diaspora. Mansa uses these connections to recreate and reimagine objects that honor those who've lost their lives too soon. This work takes a political stance by publicly memorializing those wrongfully killed and by providing protection to the community, with hopes that soon it will no longer be needed.
When an artist deals with found objects, it is also this way to incorporate the community and incorporate the history of the object itself, right? They're skewed to childhood, and that is a conversation about how that childhood isn't something that can protect you. It's not something that that Black children are given childhood, right? Because we see with the shootings of Tamir Rice, who was playing in the park and was killed within seconds. Even Trayvon Martin, another child, like Michael Brown, another child. A lot of these objects are primary colors, right? So when I'm taking these bright, colorful objects and layering them with layers of black paint, and someone steps into a room, they're immediately aware that something is off, because these things exist within normal rules, and I've shifted that. It plays with the time it takes to see what's in the piece. It demands that they get close and they look. And I think this is something that we are really gonna have to do regarding these topics, is that we're gonna have to demand that we get close and that we look and we discuss.
Hi, my name is Donna Marie Baptiste, and I'm the curator of the exhibition For Those Gathered in the Wind here at L&S Gallery.
Hi, I'm Sergio Cernuda, and I'm co-owner of L&S Gallery here in Coconut Grove. In 2017, my wife Luisa Liñarolo and I decided to open our gallery. Our mission was to showcase and represent the local Miami art scene and all the great talent.
An exhibition like this so subtly speaks to the beauty of mourning, which is something that you don't really think about, and only artists, only an artist would have that kind of wherewithal to be able to take something potentially or traditionally or normally so tragic and make it so incredibly beautiful like this show. The use of color in the exhibition is very specific. Eliott references Africa in all of his work and how those memories of Africa traveled through the transatlantic slave trade. The color blue traveled with slaves and was brought to plantations throughout the South. So the color blue is a protective color, and it's now used all throughout the South as decorative, but its history is steeped in African tradition and lore and spirituality. In African tradition, the color black is actually a color of joy and a color of life.
We are big fans of installations. Mansa came up with just this amazing idea, which was to make the project room look like this voodoo store, and put this beautiful fabric that he had found, wrap the project room with that fabric really elegantly, and just letting that light, that black on black feel, to again have us rethink the use of black.
I think Sergi and I spoke about this, but T and I talk about it quite often when, again, when referencing the color black and mourning. During slavery, during the days of slavery, death was seen as a release. So it was a joyous celebration for the enslaved, and saying goodbye to loved ones was see you later, and it was really about sending their loved ones off into the next life, because African spiritual traditions believe that this is not the end, there is another life after this one. So what a beautiful way to think about this body of work, as as we talk about mourning, is that it's also a celebration. And I think that's very prevalent in the African American traditions of homegoings, where they're not saying goodbye, they're sending you home.